Maybe initially you do something that seems fairly neutral, like maybe doing a field survey. Then you come across human situations where people are involved in that struggle. You have to take side, you have to decide, you cannot let things happen. For example, you find evidence of corruption, that people have been exploited, then you have to do something, then you get dragged into a whole social situation which has its own dynamics.
We as a civil society were asked by the authorities to be the cushion between the people and the authorities and to create a dialogue and social participation. And instead of that, the officers who were ineffective and corrupt put the blame on us. The problem is also in some of the business people who think that money can buy everything, and they feel that an NGO should not be the one teaching them what is right and wrong, that they know from before what is right and wrong. So the need for an NGO is, there's no need for an NGO in this society. It's the business people who can decide what they need to do, or the political people who can decide what they want to do, colluding together for doing this, right? Which is what has been happening. They've been hand in glove in doing this. They also think that not only an NGO, but even women who are now coming to affirm themselves in society and playing a much bigger social role need to be stopped.
I can do a little bit, everybody can do their little bit about the environment, about recycling, about using water more carefully, and all that can add up to change. But where I think I'm most effective is by actually holding systems into account. So I trained as a lawyer, and I like using legislation, prosecuting governments actually through their own legal systems to make sure they actually work and they're accountable. So around issues of sexuality, around issues of bonded labour, migrant labour, etc. There's huge and robust laws that actually exist. It's just that they're not utilised. So occasionally you need to actually get some test cases up and challenge governments. Go to the very heart of their institutions, and then you can actually make change on a scale that you can only gasp at.
We found ourselves proceeding on an unconventional media trail. How can we use media to create a healthy communication climate? Would distributors find this business approach rewarding? We did not know. It was a search. We were curious to discover where the adventure would have taken us.
I think of India by and large as a democratic country, even though there are very big limitations to Indian democracy. But it is an open society with freedom of expression and with many opportunities to become part of various forms of democratic action, which could be, as you say, trying to influence policymakers through media or various forums or talking to members of parliament. But it can also involve other things like maybe going to court, doing public interest litigation or public demonstrations. So I think of it not just as, influencing policymakers is part of this whole engagement, but it's more importantly being part of a democratic process, which can be very rich in spite of all the limitations of Indian democracy.
हमारे लिए नई चीज़ तो है नहीं, उसको एक फ्रेम में डाला गया है कि ये 8 गोल है। हम लोग तो भी जब पीपुल्स ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में काम करते थे तो हम लोग जब मेमोरेंडम देते थे गवर्नमेंट को तो उसमें कहते थे कि भाई सबको खाने की व्यवस्था करो, सबके लिए पढ़ाई की व्यवस्था करो, सबके लिए स्वास्थ्य की व्यवस्था करो, पर्यावरण दूषित हो रहा है इसके लिए गाछ लगाओ। तो हम लोग तो ये डिमांड आज से नहीं करते आ रहे हैं, लेकिन इसको पूरी दुनिया एक साथ बैठ कर के सोचा और इसका एक टारगेट फिक्स किया कि हमको इतना में इसको अचीव करना है। ये बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है। लेकिन जिस ढंग से अब हम अपनी सरकार की बात करें तो भारत सरकार ने वहाँ तो हस्ताक्षर कर दिए कि ठीक है, इस पर हमारी सहमति हुई और हम इस दिशा में करें। कुछ प्रयास भी हो रहे हैं केंद्र सरकार की ओर से। आज नरेगा योजना MDG का देन है, आज NRHM योजना MDG का देन है, आज सर्व शिक्षा अभियान की योजना MDG का देन है। MDG के आने से एक समझिए कि बहुत बड़ा परिवर्तन देश में चल रहा है, परिवर्तन दिखाई भी पड़ रहा है। लेकिन जितना ईमानदारी ढंग से और कमिटमेंट ढंग से इसको करने की ज़रूरत, इम्प्लीमेंट करने वाले लोग सरकार तो नहीं है। सरकार तो पॉलिसी बनाती है, पॉलिसी बना करके वो भेज देती है कि भाई इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना है। लेकिन जो इम्प्लीमेंट करने वाले लोग हैं उनको सेंसिटाइज करना बहुत ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि वो एमडीजी नहीं जानते हैं व्हाट इज एमडीजी कहता है। आपका बार बार सवाल सीएफ से हो रहा था, एमडीजी से वो भाग रहा था, वो नहीं जान रहा था कि एमडीजी क्या है। यहाँ का डीडीसी नहीं जानता है कि एमडीजी क्या है। तो जब एमडीजी को आप नहीं जान रहे हैं, एमडीजी में जो आपका देश ने कमिटमेंट किया है संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ में कि हम 2015 तक ये अचीव करेंगे, इस दिशा में अगर आप काम नहीं करेंगे और इस दिशा में काम करने के लिए आपको जो प्रोसेस अपनाना चाहिए, जो लोगों का सहयोग लेना चाहिए, एनजीओ का सहयोग लेना चाहिए, वो नहीं ले रहे हैं, तो शायद आप अचीव नहीं कर पाइएगा।
I think the challenge is that to get things from a pilot stage, you very often get very good practice at a small scale, and the challenge is to get that into a large scale, to be able to roll that out and replicate it, and that's very often where development fails and breaks down. So I would say that the better practice that I've seen is where, and I'm talking about principles rather than saying a particular project, is where you integrate and mainstream the development practice with, say, for example, government, or bringing in private sector, looking at more multi-sector partnerships. You're going to look at greater sustainability, greater replicability, and more scale.
Now, in the United Nations, as you know, there has been at the beginning of this millennium, the General Assembly adopted what they call Millennium Development Goals, saying by X date, this target will be met, poverty will be reduced by so much, literacy will be increased by so much. So all kind of targets are put. But targeting is very easy, resolutioning is very easier. But living up to the commitment and making sure that happens in actuality is a different thing.
Where they fail is, of course, with countries like Sierra Leone, Afghanistan, those terribly worn-torn, failed states where Millennium Goals are almost meaningless. We don't actually even have the statistics. We don't know what the sero prevalence of HIV/AIDS is, for example, in these countries. We don't know what infant mortality and death rates are, because we can't actually even collect the data. They're even off our radar. And I think that's going to be the failure, is going to be in those sort of economies, which are right at the bottom of the Human Resource Index.
Each year, millions of children die due to lack of hygiene and exclusion from healthcare services. The number of children dying in the poorest countries is nearly 20 times higher than those dying in developed countries. In a world that has so many resources and means, allowing such massacre to take place is unacceptable. The Millennium Development Goal 4 aims at lowering child mortality rates through expanding healthcare services and addressing determinants of child health. In the world now, child mortality rates are falling, but 22.6 million children still lack access to basic vaccines, and an ever-increasing number of poor children die before reaching their 5th birthday. There are still countries like Sierra Leone where governments are unable to provide free primary health care, and where the presence of international non-government medical organizations is indispensable for saving lives.
Child survival depends upon income, but it also depends a lot upon levels of education. Today we find evidence from across the world that when women are more literate, the infant mortality rate drops. So women's education literacy is very important. It of course depends upon health services. It depends a lot on public health. In fact, when you're traveling to Benares, your favorite city, you will agree with me that it's not one of the cleanest cities in the world, or in India either. So when it comes to water, what kind of water are people drinking? What kinds of sanitation facilities do you have? What is the system of garbage disposal? How do you address these fundamental problems?
Importance for NGOs in development activities, I see a huge importance. You see, that is exactly where you can become active right away. You can be active at ground level, and you can throw in a lot of volunteerism. Maybe you cannot change the world because there is nothing like a world government as such. But you can start at home, you can change something at home.
Emergency is an Italian non-governmental organization that provides medical care to victims of war and other forms of violence. In 2001, during the civil war in Sierra Leone, Emergency built a surgical hospital in Godrich, a village in the suburbs of Freetown. The war in Sierra Leone is over, but healthcare in the country is still in a state of emergency.
There was a big bus accident. We have received about 22 patients. One is in very critical condition. She has a severe head trauma. 2 lost their legs, and the other ones have fractures, abrasions, simple things. 22 simultaneous patients. We go into another routine in the hospital, and that's why we set up the triage center in the physiotherapy department, and everything is postponed and focused on this. Now we're finishing, as you see, we're cleaning up, and that's it.
Emergency provides free treatment in poor countries where healthcare is not free. It promotes a culture of peace and respect for human rights and contrasts violence in all its forms.
La filosofia che c'è dietro l'emergency colpisce le persone e i volontari in Italia credono fermamente in quello che Emergency fa, cioè loro credono veramente che utilizzare le armi sia una cosa sbagliata e che sia giusto garantire a tutti lo stesso livello di cure mediche. No, tu sei ricco, sei bianco, hai soldi, ti puoi guarire, tu sei nero, povero, muori, sono fatti tuoi. E questa è la filosofia bella di Emergency.
Its anti-war militancy sometimes puts the organization in opposition with political establishments, but everybody acknowledges that its hospitals are models of commitment and of equal efficient treatment for all.
Sierra Leone has one of the highest death rates in child mortality in the world, and Emergency first opened the hospital very close after the war. We opened in 2001 the first time, and we opened as a war hospital. We always are very, very interested in offering medical assistance free of charge, and perhaps overall that it has to be within high standards of care. Sometimes the resources may be low, nonetheless the standards always are high.
Initially started as a surgical hospital, Emergency gradually began admitting also orthopedic patients. In 2002, Emergency built a pediatric outpatient department for the treatment of malaria, anemia and respiratory infections.
Quello che si può fare noi lo facciamo, quello che non si può fare bisogna ammettere che non si può fare. Quindi sì, sicuramente c'è un modo di reagire diverso, anche, lo vedi anche nei confronti della morte questo. Cioè, in Italia quando ti muore un bambino è una cosa che magari anche qui loro lo sentono e lo percepiscono come un dolore senza paragoni, però per qualsiasi cosa c'è proprio un'accettazione completamente diversa, per quello che secondo me non è paragonabile, perché noi non siamo abituati ad avere questo tipo di cose. Cioè io non lo so proprio com'è fare la madre qua, non lo posso sapere, non posso neanche giudicare.
Che quella filosofia probabilmente più importante che Emergency cerca di portare un po' in tutti i suoi ospedali è quella di fornire anche in paesi in via di sviluppo cure di livello, come dire, di alto livello, esattamente o per quanto si può, perché poi le condizioni locali molto spesso non favoriscono, ma per quanto si può dello stesso livello che viene offerto ai pazienti europei o americani o quello che è. Insomma, credo che questo sia veramente molto importante.
Although staying in public hospitals does not cost, patients in Sierra Leone must pay fees for treatments, medicines, operations and doctors. This means that poor people that cannot afford treatments and other medical services are left to misery and death. Even minor problems like fractures can degenerate into serious and irreversible deformities. Malaria is very widespread and is one of the major causes of high mortality amongst children. People frequently suffer from gastrointestinal and respiratory infections, while scabies and worms are prevalent amongst children.
Perhaps the first challenge that came to my mind is that if we had 20 hospitals in this country, we would fill them all. But we have one. And we have very strict and clear admission criteria that involve, again, the standards of care. So what we can do, and what we can do very well, we are here and we do. The needs of the country are far greater than anything that we can provide. So sometimes you have to be the one that reminds everyone which are the admission criteria, which are the rules, and sometimes it's compromising.
The work that you do here is also based on the donation of the people in Europe who supports the work that you are doing. What would you like to tell them?
A big thank you. And if they were all here, I'll give them a hug. And there I see also the driving mechanism of non-governmental organizations, that in their own way they can create something and they can improve policies, for example. You know? They should not dominate, they should not govern, but they should be the spice of a kind of positive, peaceful, non-violent development. And here I see really a huge potential of NGOs.
So I think in terms of the evaluation, the development evaluation, one has to move away from projects to say, for UN, what is the power of ideas? What is it doing? What are the kinds of injustices in society that the UN is able to highlight that national governments will never? Civil societies try to do it, but often their voice is weak. So when the UN and the civil society organizations join, as has been the case with the MDGs, it makes a big difference. It opens up public reasoning, public thinking, public debates, public discourse. It attracts media attention. And so we cannot find solutions unless things are alive in the public agenda.
पीपुल्स पार्टिसिपेशन नहीं होगा किसी भी प्लानिंग में, तब तक किसी भी योजना को गवर्नमेंट सक्सेस नहीं कर सकती है। अब पीपुल्स पार्टिसिपेशन जो है सरकारी कर्मचारी या सरकार के पदाधिकारी नहीं कर सकते हैं, उसको एनजीओ ही करा सकता है। इसलिए एनजीओ और सरकारी मशीनरी दोनों के सहयोग से गांव का विकास हो सकता है, अन्यथा नहीं हो सकता है।
Basically, our main partners are the big NGOs, which are respected, recognized, credible. We obviously check all the credentials, the UN agencies, and then the member states. Because what has to be said is that the Commission only doesn't have enough human resources to implement all these projects. So we believe it will be useless for us to have more people. It's better to use agencies or NGOs who really have the expertise and who know how to do it, who have this know-how, this deep knowledge. And so we provide them the money for a common objective.
Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission is a worldwide organization consisting of both monastics and non-monastics. But usually, as far as the administration and management is concerned, it is hands of the monastics. This is our hospital, the outpatient department, and there is the indoor facility.
Why do you have a hospital?
This hospital is basically to serve ailing humanity, especially the poor, the Daridra Narayan, irrespective of their caste, creed or religion, to do away with their illness, with their diseases, so that they can lead a healthy, productive life. In spite of the economic progress, India has a very high infant and maternal mortality rate, one of the highest in the world, which is not acceptable. Health, unless it is promoted, and diseases, unless they are prevented, curing them is no solution, especially in our context where the health services have little manpower. So now we'll proceed towards the villages so that we can start our work there. The service we undertake is part of our spiritual discipline. Just as we meditate on the Lord, on the self. We work to serve the Lord in man, God in man. Shiv Gyane Jeev Seva.
बच्चा पैदा होगी तो 6 महीना ले खाली आपन दूध पिलावे के है.
Today we are running this mobile clinic which is providing primary health care to people along with obstetric and gynae service which our lady colleague is providing at the rear end, and we are giving all the medicines which are required.
ये आवाज आवत है ना, चक 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 के आवाज आवत है. एक मतलब है कि आपके पेटे में बच्चा का धड़कन चलत है. हाँ, यानी बच्चा सही सही है. सुना था ही, सुना कितना लगा था.
औरतों में अगर देखेंगे तो वाटर रिचार्ज की प्रॉब्लम बहुत ह्यूज लेवल पे है, बहुत ज़्यादा. जैसे हमने अभी 4-5 सालों में ये भी देखा है कि 3-4 पेशेंट हमको एड्स के भी मिले हैं. तो और उनकी ये हिस्ट्री है कि उनके हस्बैंड या तो दिल्ली या तो मुंबई यहाँ कहीं रहे हैं, तो फिर उनका वो तो स्टिग्मा ही बहुत बड़ा है. तो वो उनके लिए हम लोग अलग से काउंसलिंग और ये सब भी कर लेते हैं.
इसे ड्यूटी करना है, गर्भवती औरतों का जांच करना है इससे कि बच्चा है कि नहीं. बच्चा जिसे है तो उसमें जिसे टीका लगाना है, जांच करना है और ये सब जानकारी देना है कि मतलब खान पीन के बारे में, लेटने के बारे में, आराम करने के बारे में.
आप यहीं की रहने वाली हैं?
हाँ.
अच्छा, आप क्यों करती हैं ये?
करती हैं कि जैसे हमके भी जानकारी है और महिलाओं की जानकारी देने के लिए.
Apart from that, we have food supplements going on at 3 places in the village, along with immunization of the kids and health education of the villagers, the school children here, and even of this pregnant women.
देखिए, अभी दीदी बताई हैं कि 108 एम्बुलेंस जो जिनको बच्चा होने वाला है वो 108 पे फ़ोन करेंगी तो गाड़ी आएगी और वो ले करके सरकारी हॉस्पिटल में ले जाएगी. मैं यहाँ स्वास्थ्य शिक्षक हूँ और हमारा काम है एम्पावरिंग रूरल वुमेन का काम देखना और ये फूड सप्लीमेंट, हेल्थ एजुकेशन.
और क्या ये डॉक्टर जल्दी से बताओ तो सीखे अच्छे से सफाई कर, अच्छे से लड़कियों के नहवावा धोवा अच्छे से रखा है.
उससे फायदा हुआ?
हाँ, फायदा बहुत ज़्यादा.
मुझे ये भी लगा है कि जो भी हेल्थ एजुकेशन का मॉडल है जिस पे हम लोग काम करते हैं उसके साथ ये जो साइकोलॉजिकल फैक्टर है बहुत काम करता है. मैं मेंस्ट्रुअल हेल्थ में हमेशा यूज़ करती हूँ कि इमोशनली जब तक वो मेरे से अटैच नहीं होंगी मैं कुछ नहीं बता सकती.
सब चीज़ का सुविधा दे हैं, कुल चीज़ का. हाँ, पोषाहार मिला था, मिला था, कुछ चीज़ दर्द दवा सुचिंत में है लड़का.
और वो परिवार को सीमित रखने के लिए बताते हैं. क्या कहती हैं उसके बारे में?
हाँ, कि कहते हैं कि हो गया सुरक्षित से रहा करे, ना कि वैसा न करा करे. तो ये कैसे से कहत रहे तो हाँ सुनत रहे तो भाई सूती आएगी देखा हमारे भाई.
What for you are the main factors of child mortality in this part of the country?
Infectious diseases and malnutrition.
आप किस लिए आई हैं?
टीका लगवाए हैं.
तो ये
1.5 साल का.
इससे ये पहला है आपका?
नहीं, दूसरा.
और पहले वाले बच्चे का टीका लगा?
नहीं, पहले मिलता ही न रहा ना, लगवाया.
तो कैसे किया? उसने नहीं लगाया?
नहीं. तो ये जब एरा से नाम भरे हैं तो मिले लगावा तो आवत है, टीका सुई लगाता है, आवता जाता है.
अभी हम लोग जा रहे हैं बाल सदन स्कूल है जहाँ पर बच्चों के लिए न्यूट्रिशन पर वर्कशॉप करना है. हमें एक फ्री वर्कशॉप हो चुका है. आज उनका इन्वॉल्वमेंट करके बच्चों को कम्युनिटी में वर्कशॉप वो कर सके लोगों के साथ, उसके लिए तैयारी करानी है. इसके लिए हम लोग उस विद्यालय की ओर से खोले और हमें नींद आ जाए तो हम पढ़ पाएंगे क्या? नहीं. तो सबसे ज़रूरत क्या है कि जब हम पढ़ाई करें तो हमारी नींद पढ़ाई के समय नहीं आनी चाहिए. नींद कैसे आनी चाहिए? जब समय होता. अब ये कैसे हमारे दिमाग को याददाश्त को कैसे बढ़ाती है? हरी पत्ते वाली सब्जियाँ. अच्छी याददाश्त में सबसे अधिक ज़रूरत क्या है हमें कि आयरन की ज़रूरत जो आपको मिलती है. आयरन मिलेगा कहाँ से? हरी पत्ते वाली सब्जियों से मिलेगा.
The most important thing is to educate, means to help families to feed their children, especially the girl child, well, and take to hygienic practices, including the use of water-filled latrine and washing hands with soap.
हम लोग जो स्वास्थ्य शिक्षा देते हैं वहाँ पे उन महिलाओं को, उन बच्चों के स्वास्थ्य के लिए शिक्षित करते हैं कि अगर वो स्वस्थ रहेंगे तो बीमार कम पड़ेंगे, और बीमार कम पड़ेंगे तो फिर वो मरेंगे नहीं, और फिर वो शिक्षा के लिए भी आगे बढ़ पाएंगे, क्योंकि एक अस्वस्थ व्यक्ति जो है अच्छा शिक्षा लेने में भी असक्षम होता है।
Infant nutrition affects all aspects of a child's health, and that's the time when nutrition affects the child's mental cognitive abilities the most, because more than 90% of the brain is developed by the time the child is 2 years of old.
पहले जब हम लोग इस गांव में आए थे, बच्चों का चुनाव कर रहे थे, तो पहले ये ध्यान में देखा गया कि उन गरीब बच्चे जो कि स्कूल नहीं जा सकते हैं, उन गरीब बच्चों को चुना गया। और ऐसा ही नहीं कि वो ऊपर के जाति के हों या नीचे, ये तो बिल्कुल समान भावना रखने के लिए ऐसे बच्चों को चुना गया। इसमें कुछ बच्चे ऐसे हैं जो कि बाहर स्कूल में भी जाते हैं, सरकारी स्कूल में पढ़ते हैं, और कुछ बच्चे ऐसे हैं कि बिल्कुल नहीं पढ़ते थे। यहाँ पर आने के बाद उनके माँ बाप प्रोत्साहित हुए, और इसके बाद वो बच्चे बाकी स्कूलों में भी और बच्चों की तरह जाकर सीखते हैं और विकास कर रहे हैं।
नहीं दौड़ेंगी ना, आपके पेट में चलेगा, आप बीमारी होंगे।
और बच्चों को सबसे ज़्यादा बीमारी क्या होती है?
बुखार। बच्चों को कहते हैं मिशन वाले आते हैं तो ब्रश मंजन देती हैं और तेल साबुन देती है, ड्रेस मिलता है, दो कंघी मिलता है, जूता मिलता है, मोजा मिलता है।
क्यों मिलता है सर?
मैडम जी, ये सब सफाई से रहनी चाहिए।
वो अंतर्निहित क्षमता जो हमारे अंदर खुद से हमारे अंदर है, इन बच्चों में व्याप्त है, लेकिन उनको पता नहीं है कि उनके अंदर ये चीज़ें हैं, ये दक्षता है, ये क्वालिटी है। तो शिक्षा ऐसी होनी चाहिए कि उनकी जो क्षमता है उसको बाहर लेकर आए, जिससे वो खुलकर ज़िंदगी जी सके, स्वस्थ ज़िंदगी जी सके, बीमार कम पड़े और दवाइयों पे खर्च कम हो, और देश के विकास के लिए चीज़ें ज़्यादा हो।
Research has shown that those children who do well in school, they during their infancy, they have heard thousands of words, even when they don't know what those words mean. But they have heard it, and therefore they can develop themselves as compared to those children who have been deprived of. So we teach women, even those who are illiterate, how you can speak to your child while you are taking care of the child, and simple things which they know. The colors, the textures, the things which they see, they can describe it and keep on talking to the child. When it's not vocalizing syllable, that time also it's very important that you speak to the child.
तंबाकू सेवन के दुष्प्रभाव और छोड़ने पर होने वाले फायदों पर विचार करना चाहिए। जब आप तंबाकू का सेवन करते हैं तो नाड़ी की गति और ब्लड प्रेशर यानी रक्तचाप बढ़ जाता है।
ये फाइनल होने के बाद हम लोग गांव में जाते हैं, गांव में जो कि फील्ड में जाते हैं, वहाँ पे लोगों को दिखलाते हैं, जिससे कि उनको कोई चीज़ आसानी से समझ में आए। अगर हम वही चीज़ हम उनको अपने फेस टू फेस समझाते हैं तो उनको नहीं समझ में आ पाता है, क्योंकि उनको क्या होता है, वो चीज़ें नहीं समझ में आती। जब वही फिल्म बनाकर, एनिमेशन बना के हम उनको जब दिखलाते हैं तो उनको बड़े आसानी से समझ में आता है कि वाकई इसका प्री और पोस्ट क्या असर पड़ता है उनके ऊपर।
So Dina, this is good work, but now we should get cracking with our next product, that is tobacco use prevention. As you know, every minute 2 Indians die because of tobacco use.
अभी हम लोग मल्टीमीडिया डिपार्टमेंट में हैं। यहाँ पे जो एनिमेशन से रिलेटेड बहुत सारे फिल्म बनते हैं जो कि गरीबों को दिखाया जाता है। डॉली जी हैं जो कि एक स्टोरी बना रही हैं। जब स्टोरी कंप्लीट हो जाने के बाद हम ये मेरा सर है जो कि यहाँ पे स्टोरी बोर्ड बनाते हैं, और उसके बाद आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर ये दिनाकरन जी हैं जो कि पूरे फिल्म को ट्रेसिंग करने के बाद ट्रेसिंग कर कलरिंग वगैरह कर रहे हैं, जिसको फिर बाद में एनिमेट करते हैं। एनिमेट करने के वॉइस वगैरह डालते हैं। ये स्टूडियो रूम है, यहाँ पे हमारे एनिमेशन फिल्म के लिए वॉइस रिकॉर्डिंग किए जाते हैं। आप यहाँ पे आकर देख सकते हैं। ये
कोई भी चीज को काटने में मदद करता है। हाँ, ये अभी गलत हो गया, फिर से करते हैं, ठीक है? बोलो फिर से।
इसे बंद करो।
तो सबसे ज़्यादा चेंज क्या दिखा आपको इन बच्चों में?
बच्चों का कॉन्फिडेंस, क्योंकि पहले बच्चे जो नहीं बोल पाते थे, शर्म आती थी, खेल नहीं पाते थे, उससे क्योंकि बच्चों का एक स्वभाव होना चाहिए, एक चंचलता, और सभी से खुल के बात कर सके, वो उन बच्चों में नहीं दिखता था। लेकिन अभी है कि वो खुल के बात करते हैं, खेलते हैं, पढ़ते हैं, और अगर दूसरे स्कूलों में उनकी एडमिशन हुई है तो वहाँ पे भी उनका जो है परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा दिखता है।
We get lot of voluntary services. Otherwise, this work would be near impossible. We get many of the key higher level services for free.
और आपको लगता है कि आपके परिवार के लोग आपका समर्थन करते हैं इस काम में, या लगता है कि लड़कियों को जब ये कदम उठाना पड़ता है एक तरह से आत्मनिर्भरता की तरफ, या जो जिसमें वो बिलीव करती हैं वो राह चुनने में जो समर्थन परिवार से मिलना चाहिए, क्या वो मिलता है? क्या आपको मिला?
पहले नहीं मिला था। पहले जब नहीं मिला तो वही मैंने बहुत धैर्य रखा, धीरे धीरे लोगों को समझाया, बताया यहाँ काम के बारे में। और आज भी बहुत पूरी तरीके से समर्थन तो नहीं है, लेकिन ऐसा भी नहीं कि समर्थन नहीं मिलता है मुझे। मैं बताती हूँ कि देखिए, ये यहाँ पे हम गांव में जाते हैं, जाके कोई फैसिलिटी नहीं है, वो लोग कुछ भी जानते नहीं हैं, तो वहाँ जाके मैं ये बताती हूँ आपकी बेटी ऐसा कर रही है। अगर वो मेरे पेरेंट्स ये भी बोलते हैं देखो ना वो ऐसे जॉब में है, इतनी सैलरी है ये, तो फिर मैं उनकी लाइफ में और अपनी लाइफ में ये बताती हूँ कि क्या अंतर है, देखिए आपकी बेटी कहाँ जा रही है और वो कहाँ जा रहे हैं। तो नहीं रहती है, लेकिन अभी आने लगी है धीरे, अभी उनको थोड़ा प्राउड होता है।
हमारे भारत की ज़्यादा जनसंख्या गांव में है, पर हम उन्हीं को दूर करते हैं, तो इस वजह से हमें लगा कि नहीं कुछ करना चाहिए। क्योंकि पढ़े लिखे होकर हम शहरों में जाकर जहाँ पे तरक्की हो रही है उसमें बहुत सारे लोग होंगे तरक्की में हाथ देने के लिए, लेकिन जहाँ पे बिल्कुल नहीं कोई जा रहा है, और हमारी शिक्षा से या उनको हमारे जाने से ऐसा फ़र्क पड़े कि वहाँ गाँव के लोग भी इतना ऊपर आ सकें और हमारा देश जो है आगे बढ़ सके।
So Gauri, that was where we were, and now I'll show you our library. You know, we have got a small library. Nina, come. So this is our library, small one.
Can I ask you why is there a Quran in your bookshelf?
Yeah, because we study various world religions and we revere the prophets and the incarnations of God in other religions, including Lord Buddha, Jesus Christ, and Prophet Muhammad. One more thing we do is participate in interfaith dialogues so that to promote understanding between different religions and followers of different religions, and to do away with misunderstandings, and to concentrate on the religion which is taking man to his source, to the divine. As Swami Vivekananda would say, we are the worshippers of that God whom the ignorant call man. And if you see, the spirit of Banaras is just this. Here you will find that all religions of the world, all sects and subsects of Indian traditions, they are represented here. And while all of them are Banarasis, live in harmony, there is a distinct culture and practice which each follows as per their tenets.
Quanto hai trovato difficile o non difficile questo comunicare la realtà di questi progetti?
È molto difficile e anche molto facile. Molto difficile perché queste sono le tematiche di confine, quelle sentendo le quali la gente normalmente con il telecomando fa zip e chiude. E io sapevo già e ho comunicato che il rischio vero della comunicazione era che non ci fosse comunicazione,
perché rischiamo di essere cancellati appena ce ne occupiamo di queste tematiche. Difficilissimo per questo, ma facilissimo anche per me, perché nello scambio che abbiamo condiviso e poi nel mio orientamento, diciamo così, di partenza, io sapevo e ho avuto conferma che le tematiche sociali sono una noia sociologica se vengono rappresentate come tematiche generali di statistiche, di numeri, di tendenze e di trend, e sono invece una rappresentazione assolutamente, talvolta dolorosamente vitale, se invece sono rappresentate nel vissuto di una persona che ha un nome, un cognome, un volto e uno sguardo.
Whenever as a development professional I have gone and tried to listen to their voices, the grammar of that language has been imposed by me. I've never bothered to give space for their grammar. I mean, space and time. And because managerially a project has to be run in certain time. So there is, and look, the underprivileged, the set of people who need our assistance, or, I mean, this is, seeking assistance is an act of indignity itself. I mean, most people wouldn't like to be seen as seekers. But it is very clear that they are behind because they are unable to articulate themselves in the mainstream media. I mean, in the mainstream language, let me put it this way. And that is why they are behind. They've not been able to jump onto the mainstream, and that is why they've left behind. So clearly, they have their problems of communication, of understanding what the mainstream is, and then devising ways of how to get onto it. If they had been able to do it, we were not needed. Political process in India actually is helping articulate that far better. They're able to articulate their preferences because through the political process far better than through the developmental efforts. Because developmental efforts are narrow, focused, limited set of objectives, whereas the broader issues are several.
I mean, you're putting now new questions to you.
Yes.
And how are you trying to answer to those questions?
I don't know. It's not a very structured way. I mean, some answers will come, some new questions will come. There are stories that are going on, and I'm trying to listen to those stories.
The only answer I see is people getting into all levels of public life, whether it's education, health, or I would say even administration and politics. There is no other alternative to this.
And do you think that we need NGOs for supporting development activities around the world?
Well, I would say yes, because I work for an international NGO, so I'm always going to say that. But I think the reason why I say that is because civil society, a robust civil society, is hugely important in terms of both democratisation and hearing a voice for people. And I think NGOs play, and I broad base it out of non-government organisations into civil society as a whole, because I include the media. I think the freedom of press, for example, in India is one of its major strengths, and if you suppress freedom of media, and that's the internet, Twitter, Google, anything, you suppress development. So I have a much more inclusive definition of civil society, not just NGOs, but massively crucial for success of a nation state.
Also, when you say hunger is news, I am not convinced that this is the case. It's true that if there's a drought and a crisis situation, then it will become news. But the fact that in India there's an almost permanent nutrition emergency, with half of the children being undernourished, half of the adult women being anemic, which should be treated as a national emergency and be a matter of constant public awareness and discussion, that is just not happening at all, because the middle class in India doesn't want to know. And because the mainstream media is addressing itself mainly to that middle class. So I think that different kinds of biases, I mean, one is, as you say, the bias of bad news versus good news. But I think there's also, to me, what is more fundamental in the case of India, particularly in the context of democratic politics and the need to make democratic politics more effective in conveying the needs of deprived people. I think there's also a bias towards the middle class and people who have money to respond to advertising and the urban classes, and a gross neglect of a large majority of deprived people.
The economic argument is that inefficiency anywhere in the world, in a global shrinking world,
affects efficiency anywhere else. That you cannot have in the Western world the living standards which you are now used to, which you are not accustomed to, too long if 2/3 or 1/3 of the world lags behind. The sooner or later it catches up with you. After all, you depend on the rest of the world for resources, raw materials, market and trade. Now if the rest of the world 1/3, 2/3 continues to be undeveloped, you cannot maintain the living standard for too long. So the economic argument has been there for too long, but somehow it doesn't, when it comes to policy making, public opinion, it's not cutting ice. Now, the other side, the younger people, or to the extent I can understand, are not so much consumed by consumerism. Okay. Now, idealism is pretty much dissipating, if not vanishing, in this I call the grown-up generation. But idealism is still there to some extent in the younger generation. But therefore, if you want to build a constituency for international development cooperation, you must also shift the focus, not completely ignore, not completely sidestep, but broaden the base from the what I call the grown-ups to the younger people who are going to college and who are going to university and who are searching for a meaning in their life. There is, as you know, younger generation more than adults, there is a certain amount of, they feel a void inside. Okay, I have a good life. I can afford the good things of life. But what does it all mean? So you must somehow tap that unrest, that quest for meaning to this idea of helping those in need. If you can bring the two together, their quest for meaning and the need to shift part of the developed countries' wealth and resource to developing countries, then I think you can build what I call the critical mass for change.
Unless people who are well-meaning people, well-educated people, start getting into the process, you're not going to have a systemic solution. You may have such like as we are doing, some tiny bit of work here and there.
Which has a major ripple effect anyway.
And that is true, but that's the only thing which we can do.
Only when the big crisis happens, then media focus is there.
Yeah.
And the media would eventually come and say, oh, there was not much prevention about it. When there is a question of somebody working for preventing crisis, they don't get media coverage. Is it the case?
I think that's the case. Yes, absolutely.
Where do you think are the limits of NGOs?
Well, it's whether they have an authentic voice. I mean, NGOs are very, very good at claiming to speak on behalf of people. But of course, they're not democratic institutions in their own right. So in one way, what we're so critical about, and we do critique, and we're not just governments, but we critique the private sector, for example, yet when it comes to our own internal structures and our own accountability, very often we're not auditing ourselves externally very well. So, for example, you know, I can say that, yes, we have some very good and robust programs on the ground, but that's because I'm saying it. If I had the same response from sort of Coca-Cola, BP, Shell, or even a government, I would be highly sceptical about those figures and statistics. So I think that if we're going to hold other stakeholders and other sectors, the private sector, the public sector, to account, then I think that we really ourselves have to be much more transparent and honest about our own structures.
The NGOs very often feel that you should involve the NGOs. We also agree with that, in the sense that we have a national policy for the voluntary sector, which says that there's a lot of experience that, you know, in many programs, good NGOs, when they get involved, improve the quality of implementation of the program, and we encourage people to involve good NGOs. But the decision to involve the NGO has to be taken by the local political body. I very often meet NGOs who tell me, well, look, you know this is a good NGO, so why don't you tell the panchayats to work with them? And that we cannot do. We cannot start saying one NGO is better than another NGO. It is the local body that controls the decision that has to choose the NGO.
Occorrerà una
maggiore mobilitazione delle comunità, non soltanto dei governi, perché la prospettiva dei governi rimane prigioniera alle volte della visione anche di difesa di interessi nazionali. Invece occorre uno scatto in più, una consapevolezza che si appartiene ad un'unica famiglia umana, la consapevolezza che la solidarietà non è un gesto di carità supplementare, ma è ciò che ci rende più esseri umani, che dà più senso anche alla nostra vita, ci rende più felici, perché ci rende più consapevoli che non dobbiamo chiuderci, ma che è proprio nell'apertura all'altro che noi stessi ci sentiamo più realizzati.
And if the youth don't come up now and say, no, we want each of us, women and men, to participate in our social, in the development of our city, it's not going to happen also. It's not even going to happen because I want it to happen. It will happen only when the people want it to happen. And the people have to make the choice, not me. So if the youth of Banaras today, the youth of Banaras need to come up and say that civil society and women have a vital role in any kind of development that has to take place, and they actually represent that kind of traditional resource that needs to be led out and even become leaders of this new social movement. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Humane means not being indifferent. Humane beings not being intolerant. Humane beings not turning the Nelson eye to injustice.
Would there be any message you would like to give?
Yeah, my message to all the viewers would be, just don't stand and look, get involved, come in and pitch in.
Dimitra left Sierra Leone, and she's now the medical supervisor of the emergency hospital in Afghanistan. Thanks to the successful collection of voluntary financial contributions from supporters in Italy, construction work is underway for expanding the emergency hospital structure in Godrej. Jean Dresse has been publishing a number of books along with Amartya Sen. He continues to live and work in India, and in spite of his fame, he lives in frugality and simplicity, dedicated to the rights of the excluded. Swami Varishtananda is expanding the multimedia center in the Ramakrishna Mission at Varanasi, and he plans to produce various health education resources that can be shared with others working for health promotion in India and in other developing countries.